Well, Foxtrots, that is the first Champions Meet finished, but there is already another one brewing around mid-September. Now, if you entered this one, regardless if you sweat or you just casually entered, this first experience ideally should be an educational one, but more than how you think it actually is. Now, many people can learn what stats they should have prioritized, what builds they should have made, what kind of Umas and lineups they'd be going up against, checking what deck the winners ran. The list goes on. In my honest opinion, what is most important is not the lesson you learn in relation of how to prepare your Umas for the Champions Meet, but how to prepare you, yourself, the trainer, mentally for this. A close friend of mine who has been a fan of Uma Musume since its Japanese release told me that the Champions Meet itself had a moniker, the Whale Wars. Regardless if you are in the open or graded league, most of the player base will always be at the mercy of two giants, the whales and the meta players. Knowing this, if you are a casual player, there are a few things you must accept and reconcile yourself with before you start preparing Umas for the next Champions Meet. Number 1. You are fighting what is essentially a losing battle. Against whales, you are at a severe disadvantage if you are not whaling. Against meta players, you are at the mercy of people who have prioritized min-maxing builds, skills, and Umas, more so than picking their favorite Umas and making a lineup they wanted to make for a lineup they need to make to win. And against both, you are dealing mostly with people who have pulled for the best support cards than Umas, or worse, they have done both. Number 2. Graded versus Open League has their advantages and disadvantages. Entering the Open League, you might think it is easier because you just need B-rank Umas. Now, on paper, that is correct, but look and think about it from a different perspective. If you have a very decent deck of support cards and have experience winning Ura Finale consistently, most of your Umas are probably B+ and close to even A. You have to limit your runs in Ura and almost bomb out mid-career around the Ura Finale to make sure your Uma doesn't score too high in the rating. On top of that, reaching 1200 of any stat alone will make the secondary stat it trains very high as well. And add to that the amount of skills and quality of skills you have, there is a very high chance you reach B+ as well. This means that your Uma has a high chance of gassing out in the 3200 meter Gemini Cup. But so do your other opponents. And thankfully, this handicap is, well, quite universal for anyone who enters. If you join the graded league, you are at the mercy of whales and meta players because there are no restrictions. If you can consistently make B+ or A rank Umas, you are against beasts of trainers that can make A+ or even S rank Umas without breaking a sweat. Number 3. No matter how perfect your preparation is, RNG is the silent enemy that has no bias. RNG can in one race be on your side, and in the remaining races of a leg, your nemesis. Be it late starts, rush, skills not triggering, being blocked, being against not just whales but leviathans, being against perfect meta players, RNG will always be there when you want it and when you don't want it to be. Now with these 3 points in mind, hopefully you have tempered your expectations, because the higher your expectations are, the heavier and more painful the disappointment that follows. Now, of course, this does not mean that you should not be confident or faithful that your Umas will win. After all, your love for your Uma can be expressed in absolute faith, unwavering support, in victory and defeat, and many other ways. I have told my mutuals, friends, and Foxtrots that I have 3 core mentalities and expectations most of the time, and in particular, entering the Taurus Cup. And I have this philosophy in just about every game that I play. But in particular, in Uma Musume, I will do my best, my Umas will do their best, win or lose, I will love my Umas. Those 3 have not changed before and after Taurus Cup. I am proud of my Umas and how they were able to consistently place top 3 in a very convincing manner too. In a league where most lineups were Gold Ship, Ogre Cap, Nice Nature, my lineup was mostly Narita Brian, Daiwa Scarlet, and Grass Wonder. In my honest opinion, their builds were not the best, and the only thing I can say I prepared them for was their stamina being 900 or above. Now, of course, with 1 or 2 nice natures in a race, that 900 stamina may as well be 700. Knowing that, I knew and I expected my Umas to be pushed to their limits and held back, and that is okay. I still love them, and there's always the next Champions Meet. Here are a few tips I can give you in preparation for the Gemini Cup, based on my own experience preparing for Taurus Cup, as well as reading, checking, researching what other trainers have had to say, as well as advice that I have received from my fellow Foxtrots and friends. Being a 3,200 meter race, you really want your stamina to be in the 1k to 1.1k range. 1.2k is ideal, but honestly, it's not realistic unless you have MLB stamina SRs or even SSRs. To alleviate this, run Umas that have 20% or 10% stamina growth. Here is a brief view of Umas that have bonus stamina growth. Now you can of course run Umas that do not have bonus stamina growth. That just means that reaching your stamina goal will be equal parts challenge and luck. Now the conditions of the race are as follows. The race conditions are in the Kyoto race course with turf conditions, 3,200 meter distance, right-handed, outer, spring season, sunny weather, and firm ground. Now, if you have green passive skills that you can get that can trigger in this race, it is very good to have. After all, passive skills and unique skills are the only skills that have 100% trigger rate, granted that their requirements are met. Now, if nice natures or debuffers were giving you trouble, expect them to do so again. Most nice natures are built for skill triggers, meaning their wit is very high, A and above. So their speed, power, stamina is probably below the range to run the race properly. But most trainers that build nice nature like that made that decision and sacrifice consciously. So if you are a trainer that loves running pace chasers and front runners, consider running at least one other Uma that has a rear-centric racing strategy like a late surger or an end closer. Now this is because many debuffers have skills that target Umas in front of them, which means that pace chasers and front runners are the most common target in these races, while end closers and late surgers have a drastically low chance of being targeted, but not a 0% chance. If their target speed is high, there is a chance that the debuffer will be just behind your Uma, and that will make them targetable by their debuffs. I know it is very difficult to rewire yourself to not prioritize speed, especially if you have been doing so for a long time. But there is a saying, if your Uma runs out of stamina, their speed becomes a decoration. Realistically, expect your Umas to gas out in Gemini Cup. So the goal of having as close to 1200 stamina as possible is not to prevent gassing out, but to delay it. After all, there is a high chance that people will be running debuffers, which will once again drain your stamina and velocity, but more importantly, your stamina. Try to balance quantity and quality of skills. While it may be tempting to get 2 gold skills and primarily get gold skills, they will only be a great investment if they trigger and if you have quite a lot of them. Now with tempered expectations, when you look at your skills, expect at least one of your skills to not trigger. Now with that in mind, in my opinion, it's better to have 1 gold skill and 3 standard recovery skill than just 2 gold skills. Now this is especially if in your career run, you have multiple recovery skills that have hint level 3 or more discounts. In the most expected scenario, 1 of 2 of your gold recovery skills probably will not trigger. This means that if you have 4 recovery skills, 1 of them may not be your gold recovery skill, but at least you have 2 more in the chamber. Now of course, best case scenario is that you do get 2 golden recovery skills, but sometimes you need to compromise and adapt based on what cards you have and what hint skills you get. This guide is by no means foolproof or guaranteed that you will win the Gemini Cup. This guide was made based on my own racing philosophies, what I learned from my preparation for Taurus Cup, as well as building decent and competent teams for team trials, which, in my honest opinion, they do consistently well in. Gemini Cup is a test of many things: your patience, knowledge, luck, build efficiency, and of course, the competition you are up against. Remember that at the end of every race, your Uma did their very best, and for every bitter loss, it is a chance to learn and grow. And such bitter losses are not only yours to deal with, your opponents will also have to face defeat amidst your hard-earned victory.